This episode is brought to you by the Cloth Filter Company, who hand sew reusable coffee filters for all your favorite pour over and batch brew devices. Save trees, save money, make delicious coffee. I use them almost every day, so check the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and I'm joined for episode 4 of a 5-part series with Nolan Hirte. Nolan, on this journey as building Proud Marys, what surprised you in your 25 years of building shit? What have been the surprises?
I think where I would want to go here is I think trying to do something genuine and authentic. Kind of I kept realizing that if I want to make it harmony, if I want to create unity within the people of Proud Mary and our little community, there's a spiritual component that just kept appearing. And what I was learning in my own spiritual kind of endeavors and quests and about myself and about life out in the world, I kept being able to relate that to business. And that kept surprising me because it was like, well, yeah, but business is such a dirty thing, right? Or it can be such a dirty thing, but it doesn't have to be. And in fact, maybe it needs to shift from this way that it's been done into a new way. And I kept seeing that, in fact, we are all connected and need to be all connected. And everyone needs a bit of food. And that is kind of how it needed to be for it to really work. And so the work that I have been able to do personally, even though it was a rough journey or had its hard moments, that's where the gems came from. And those gems now are really valuable to me to be able to kind of lead with and to share with and to kind of bring back to the community. And so that surprised me, that just how important those spiritual beliefs or those ideologies that I kind of had formed, how important they are to us to in a workplace, in a business, in a company. And in fact, that they're way more valuable than any studying that I could have done or degrees that I could have probably should have had before I went and launched off into this. I don't have any of that. But what I do have is an incredible North Star and a gut that would tell me when something is off or something is right. And the more I would listen to that and the more I would speak to it, the more it would help. And kind of, so that was surprising to me that we actually, again, think we know all the stuff that matters, but actually, there's a bunch of stuff that you don't really need to know. And you really just got to have some trust and faith in that, instinct.
I encourage all of my consulting clients to read The Alchemist at the beginning. It's a business tool at the beginning of their journey into entrepreneurship. And if you're listening to this and you are thinking of becoming a business owner one day, please, the most valuable book that you can get before you do that is The Alchemist. I have probably bought 200 copies of that book for people because this is a journey that really is going to teach you everything you never wanted to know about yourself. It will teach you where your weaknesses are. It will teach you what your fears are. It will teach you how you relate to people. It will teach you how people relate to you. It will teach you what you do understand and don't understand, and what you know and what you thought you knew. And a lot of that shit can be really humbling, can't it, Nolan?
For sure. For sure. It is grueling, right? I mean, the one thing we're not talking about, but probably the most challenging thing doing what I've done over the years, and working in the industry has been the people. It's a people industry. And, we're now like, I think there's like 120 staff working for us at the minute.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot to hold. And to be fair, I can't hold all of that, and I can't make it all okay for everyone. There's people are going to have their own, again, going to have their own journeys and their own experiences. And it definitely, we've learned a lot about how to get better at how we speak, how we share, how we mentor, having a mentor, how we bring people up, and it really, I've never really worried so much about someone's skill set as opposed to the vibe, how they feel, or how are they as a human being? Are they comfortable in their own skin? Are they ready to go do it? Let's go do it. And when you have someone that can light up, I mean, you can go to anything. Joy gives us wings,
How do you balance that approach with profit?
Profit is a funny one, isn't it? It's like not always that easy to come by either in this industry, and it's gotten harder and harder, and particularly like in Australia. I don't know how you guys are doing it, honestly.
It's mad.
You mentioned wages before, and there's another pay increase coming in October, right, for everyone. Well, hang on, how's that gonna work? Because wages across the board are really high in Australia, and I'm not arguing that they shouldn't be, but it has to balance somewhere.
Yeah, the businesses are going to go out of business, and if the businesses don't exist, who are they going to employ?
They already were. They already were going out, right? And there was definitely all this dodgy stuff under the table because it was the way to survive. So the price has to go up again. Is the answer there, right? You need to charge more to be able to pay the correct wages and make profit. And you need profit not to go buy a fucking car or a yacht.
No, it's just
you need profit to breathe. Yeah, that's how you breathe. It's the breath.
It's not
and
huge
like
profit.
We had a pretty stressful week this week at home, and it was like, man, the business has turned over a heap of money. Awesome, but it didn't really make anything.
Yeah. It's high revenue, no profit.
But I was just telling the guys, I'm like, hey, we really want to kind of be disciplined and let's try and get some profit happening, because I want to spend money on some really like cool updates that we need to make it awesome again. It's not, we definitely, we've always just really poured the money back in to the business. It hasn't, it's a tough road.
Recently I had a financial investor of one of my clients have a conversation with me and say, so can you tell me why this business is taking this approach to people? We spend a lot of time making sure that the employees are happy. And I said, well, because, we're part of establishing the future of the industry. And his response was, I'm not interested in establishing an industry. I'm interested in profit margins.
Right.
And
who was this?
It was the financial investor of one of my clients. And and I came to realize, like, is this a sign of the time that we're in? I don't know that that's any different than how it's always been.
Yeah.
But perhaps I'm being a little naive there in suggesting that perhaps it's going to get a little more prevalent as the economy gets tighter, and that investors are going to turn around and say, well, fuck the people, show me the money.
I mean, you'd have to say the reason that we've only got so little left on the planet is because that's exactly what we did.
Yeah,
that's exactly what we did. We just went, well, fuck everyone else. I'm going to take.
Me. I'm going to take.
Look what's left.
Yeah.
There's not much left. Now what are you going to do? It'll turn. It has to turn. And I mean, I'm
I'm
all
banking
for it.
on it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing this podcast still if I didn't think that our industry is headed for a major, not facelift, but major reassessment of values. There's going to be a little bit of pain ahead, I think. But I think it's like we're talking about the warrior's journey. You know, our industry is about to learn a whole bunch about itself that it never wanted to know.
Yeah.
It's going to learn a whole lot about ego and toxicity and the reality of being in business and this idea of community where we're not really acting like a community and all that kind of stuff. All of this shit is going to come to the forefront. And then I think what's really beautiful about that is we have to look at it. We are going to be humbled in a big way, but then what comes after that is the beautiful thing.
Mm.
It's the
I think I agree, and I think we've got an opportunity to do some really cool stuff, and it's such a beautiful industry that what when I first started working with when I first I fell back into coffee, and I was in Perth in Western Australia. And I had been through, interestingly enough, I've been through depression a couple of times.
So say all of us.
And yeah, but like it really, like when I was 21, it really hit really hard. And I almost ended it. It was a full-on experience. No, it was, again, part of the journey. And, but I landed back in Western Australia trying to find my feet, and I was not wanting to work for anyone. I'm like, fucking man, I don't want to work for the man. I had been busking and
doing what? Music?
Handstands and performing.
Awesome.
And like
fantastic.
Selling lighters and making wallets and just like literally
creative stuff.
I didn't care about money. I knew that I felt like that I would be provided for if I had faith and trust. So I really wanted to test that out.
Even back then, you were on that trajectory.
A long time ago, yeah. And so anyway, I remember going to make coffee, do a trial to get a job because I really had to get off the couch and back into life. And I'd been in depression for too long. I realized it would eventually, if I just waited it out, I'd come out of it eventually. And sure enough,
you knew that?
I started to connect to the ocean and I started to see like opportunities. And anyway, I go make this coffee in Perth, and the manager was like, "Holy shit, that's the best coffee you've ever had. When can you start?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck! All right, now I've got a job." And I started working there, and within a couple of weeks, I could see all these different people coming in.
Yeah,
and I had this like really beautiful light bulb, feel in touch kind of moment where it was like, that's what you have to do. There is a door in front of you that random people that you wouldn't normally associate with are going to walk through that door, and you get the opportunity to take care of them, and you get to be genuine if you want. You can be real, and that is an opportunity to make someone's day that little bit better. And so that lit me up. I'm like, wow, okay. And the next person walks in, I'm like, hey, how you doing? And they're kind of like taken back a bit, like, whoa, like you mean that, don't you? And I'm like, no,
your intensity.
Like, yeah. And it was so beautiful to see that very quickly we could foster this beautiful community through this door. And that I just love that. That's still so nice. Like I love it. That is our opportunity in our industry, is that we get to bring everyone in.
That's our purpose.
Everyone feel welcome.
That's really, as an industry, that's our purpose. We get to provide an opportunity for people to feel welcome somewhere.
Yeah. And all walks of life and all genders and all types. It doesn't really matter, and everyone's welcome, and it's really beautiful.
You know, I feel really fortunate that, and And I mean, it makes me giddy every day that I get to do this podcast, because I get to have these kinds of conversations with people in the coffee industry. And I don't think I've ever seen you quite this open and vulnerable about the man that you are and the way that you've approached building what you're building. And I'm really glad that people get to see the thing behind the thing behind the thing of who Nolan is.
Yeah, thank you.
What a blessing. All right, we've got one episode to go. Let's go do it. Peace, love, and peanut butter, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, friends. There are 2 ways you can support this podcast. Firstly, become a paid member of our YouTube channel. Secondly, you can join our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video before you leave, and check the show notes for more information. Now, this is what you should check out next.